Right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Beer Bestie Banish. We're here today with Andrea Ezerins, and she has written Again and Again Back to You. I have read it. There it is. It's a great book. It's sort of fantasy, but not fantastical, but it is wonderful to read. And she's going to tell us who she'd like to have a beer with, who she would have as her bestie, and who she would like to banish. So before we get started, why don't you give us a little brief summary of your book so we have some context about these characters that you're talking about?
All right, so I describe my book as a story of lost love and found love, but Marta and Kevin, the two main characters, only find their way back to each other through a mystical channeler who shows them what their life would have been like if they had reconnected in their 20s. And then it's them grappling with what they do with that information and how it impacts their life going forward.
It's a really, really cool premise. All those what ifs, like, oh, now you know. Okay, so who would you most want to have a beer with?
So, my mystical channeler, who has that, kind of magic, is definitely who I'd want to have a beer with. Only certain people are open to channeling in the book. So I'd want to sit around and find out if perhaps I would be one that could go back in time and, see what an alternate life path could would look like. You actually experience and live it for a while is what channeling is. So he's a definite of who I'd like to have a beer with.
I don't know. That might scare me. Like,
Duh.
no, I don't know if I want to know.
I know, right? And in the book, there's a lot of waffling to, if scared to find out, scared not to find out. So, right, it is it is one thing that you'd have to think about, but easy for me to say I would want to, but I'm not sure I would.
Right. And who would be your bestie?
So Marta is my main character, but I don't think she would be my bestie. She's pretty timid and hesitant, really lacks self-confidence through most of the book. Maybe she does come onto her own at the end when she's 70, but through most of the book, I don't think that she would be my bestie, but she's got a work friend called Tracy, who is modeled after a real work friend of mine, and she's got all the gumption and all the self-confidence and such that I think would have that connection for me. So Tracy in my book would be my bestie.
We all need a Tracy in our life.
Yes, right, right. That gets you moving. I said, that right loosens me up a little, and yes, that I have to go, no, 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 or a little bit versus being the one to drive things.
Great. And who would you banish? Who would you get rid
So
of?
my book doesn't have any natural villains like, yours does clearly. So mine's, more of a uh, existential kind of a thing where time or your own human nature of being concerned or lacking self-confidence is the villain that stops you from doing some things that you want the person to do. So I don't have this natural villain. So the closest I could come up with is Steve, who is Marta's husband, and his only crime really is that he's bland, that he's a bit of a milk toast and very risk averse and we'll say a nervous Nelly sort. And so he does hold Marta back, that also has those tendencies. And so he was the one that I would say was banished, which ultimately, Marta didn't banish him, so but Marta cut him free so that she could kind of continue on her journey and grow as a person and as an individual.
My mom always said that the worst crime a person could commit is to be boring. That she would much rather be offended than bored because at least then you felt something.
Yes, right. I mean that. Yep, I agree with your mom. Who's stuck in an elevator with someone that's right, boring and
Right.
yes, right. Doesn't know when to. Yeah, there's a lot of those sorts out there, Lori. Right? They don't know when to stop talking or to let you talk. But yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I hope everyone reads again and again back to you. And I understand you have a new book coming out. You want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, so May 26th, my second book, which is called When the Forest Dreams, is coming out. It's a modern retelling of L.M. Montgomery, who's most famous for Anne of Green Gables, but she also wrote this little romance a book called The Blue Castle that's been my favorite. So I do a modern retelling of that 100-year-old book.
I can't wait to read it.
Oh,
Thank,
thank you, Lori.
thank you so
Yes,
much
and
for
thanks for
joining
doing this.
us. Sure. Thank you for joining us. I will put up a graphic with again and again back to you and the link to buy it. Hope everyone reads it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again.